Husband and brother had an affair, don't know if I should laugh or cry. So, I 35 female found out my husband, 38 male, of 6 years was having an affair. That alone would be enough to push anyone's buttons, right? But just wait, there's a twist. He wasn't having an affair with another woman, nope. He was having an affair with my brother. Yeah, you read that right, my bloody brother. Now, I'm not one to judge anyone for their preferences, live and let live. You know, what got me is the betrayal, the absolute soul-crushing betrayal from the two people I loved most in this world, you know, those folks who are supposed to be your rock when everything else goes to hell. Yeah, those, I found out purely by accident. I wasn't snooping, promise, just looking for an old picture on my husband's laptop. We often swapped devices and didn't really have any boundaries when it came to privacy, or so I thought. Stumbled upon some emails, not just any emails, lovey-dovey ones, with my brother. My world collapsed, literally my legs gave out, and I ended up on the floor, staring at those words that made absolutely no sense. I swear, if confusion and hurt had a baby, that baby was me at that moment. It's been a rough few weeks since that day. I confronted them both. I wish I could tell you that it was a heated discussion with flying pots and pans, but honestly, it was a quiet conversation with a lot of crying, more from my end. Obviously, I feel deceived, cheated, and just replaced. It's one thing to be swapped out for another woman, but to find out that your husband is gay, and in love with your brother, that's a level of pain and confusion I never thought I'd have to endure. Life's been a whirlwind of emotions since then, the crying, the anger, the self-doubt, the stages of grief for a marriage I thought was solid. I've moved out temporarily, staying with a friend. On top of it all, I feel so isolated. Like, how do you even begin to talk about this with your friends? How do you explain it without feeling like a circus freak? And before anyone says, yes, I have started therapy. What's next for me? I don't know, probably a divorce. It's still a raw wound. Right now, I'm just surviving. I'm trying to remember who I am outside of being a wife, a sister. Outside of this betrayal, I'm trying to figure out what this means for me, for my relationship with my brother, for my view on love. Sorry for the long rant. Thanks for reading. I outed my sister to our parents. 3 years later she still doesn't talk to me. My husband hates when I talk about this to him because he thinks I should be over it by now, but sometimes I need to talk about it. 3 years ago my sister came out to me as a lesbian. My reaction was pretty bad to say the least. At the time I was very involved in the Mormon church. I'm still a member, but I'm not as radical as I was before. I told my sister that I didn't want her around my kids anymore and I needed to distance myself until I prayed about everything. In my mind, I needed direction from God on what to do in this situation. My sister cried and begged me not to tell our parents. That same night I told our parents about what my sister told me. They were extremely angry and confronted her. Things got much worse from there. My family was encouraged to distance ourselves from my sister by our bishop. Since my sister is an adult, pays her own bills, and lives in her own apartment, it was easy to avoid her. At the time I thought I did the right thing. It sounds dumb, but when she graduated from college a few months later it really hit me that I lost my sister. My family is the type of family to always attend big events for each other. We always go all. So seeing my sister succeed in something she's worked hard with us sucked. I texted her and apologized. I told her that I would like to have an open conversation if she was open to it, but she never responded. It's been 3 years, and my beliefs on the LGBTQ community has changed drastically. I now see how ignorant and brainwashed I was. I've reached out to my sister many times, but I never get a response. Last I heard she moved to a new state and works as an ICU nurse. Not a day goes by that I don't think about this. The guilt from this keeps me up at night. My kid came out as trans and I'm struggling, but not for the reasons you think. I've always known. Even as a baby he seemed happiest in his cousin's boy hand-me-downs and would protest if I dressed him in pink frilly things. The minute he learned to walk it's been rough and tumble, dirt under his nails, bugs in his pockets. I thought maybe he was going to be a tomboy like me until he was 5 and he tried to shave his head with his dad's beard trimmer, huge bald spots everywhere in his beautiful long blonde hair. He looked at me with tears running down his chubby baby cheeks. Mama, I don't want to be a girl. I got out the clippers and shaved his head. I knew. At 7 if someone said he was a girl, he would ball up his fists and tell you he was a boy. I never once corrected him, but somebody did. I don't know who and I don't know when, but someone got in his sweet little head and for a moment, he decided he was a girl. He tried for a while to be a girl, donning dresses with scrapped knees, scuffed Mary Janes and grass stains. He tried to love ponies and Barbies and all things girl, but he hated it and you could tell he did. I knew. At 10 he was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. 10, he confided in me that he had such scary thoughts and my heart broke into a million pieces. I got him a therapist and he started meds and he started doing better for a while, but then that didn't seem to help either. One night when he was 11 he fell into my chest and sobbed that he didn't think he was a girl. I told him it was okay and he didn't have to be a girl. We talked about all the different genders and I researched and answered all of his questions as best as I could. I got in touch with some non-binary and trans friends and asked for their help. He decided that he was non-binary and for a while he denounced gender altogether, but I knew. One night a few weeks ago at 13 he asked me to pass the butter during dinner and immediately after, as if he was telling me something as mundane as the weather, he said it, "Mom, I'm a boy, I'm trans." The look on his face was part hope and part terror, but it was all brave. He's always been brave. even when he can't see it. I told him I loved him and that would never change and that I would love him regardless, not in spite of. I always wanted a boy. I'm terrified. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's so kind and gentle. He always has been. I'm trying so hard not to mess this up. It's too important, but I am scared and part of my mama heart wants to squash it, not because I don't believe him or I don't support him but because I am afraid and I want to protect him, afraid of how the world is going to treat him, afraid of the current political climate we live in, afraid of the things trans men experience at the hands of some evil cis men, afraid of the cruelty he may face, afraid of the absolutely staggering self-destruction rate among trans people and that I may one day bury my son because of it. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go from here. Logically I do, but mentally and emotionally, I'm just stuck. I don't really have anyone I can talk to about this. I just hope he knows that he is so loved and that is enough. My boyfriend is getting too comfortable. Me and my boyfriend have been together for almost 3 years, and living together for almost 2. I'm at university and work as a manager, and he has a full-time job at around 30 to 40 hours a week. At the start it was your stereotypical happy and progressive relationship. He'd give me flowers, make me coffee in the mornings, I'd cook his favorite meals if he had a bad day, and we would go on dates. Our friends used us as a template for the perfect relationship since we knew how to communicate and anything that almost became a fight was resolved within the day. We were both on the exact same wavelength with everything. In the past year, it's become really difficult to have good communication. I've kept doing what we've always done and brought up anything bothering me and how we can resolve it, but he started making empty promises. For example, my university semester started and I got a promotion at work, so I asked him if we could shuffle the house chores a bit since I was doing way more hours. He said yeah of course and did the normal hug and kiss. But nothing changed. If I bring it up again, he just brushes it off as yeah, I'll do it later, but he doesn't. I thought he might have been struggling with something that he didn't want to tell me about, so I gave him more leeway and just asked for a little bit of help here and there. So I would make dinner and just ask that he unloads the dishwasher afterwards, but he would do the same thing, agree but pretend I hadn't asked. The final straw for me was a couple days ago. We were getting a bunch of furniture moved to our house and my parents were helping us at 10 a.m. I told my BF this and he said that's completely fine, but he's already agreed to go clubbing with our friends. I said that's fine as long as he helps me clear out the living room for the new furniture before he leaves. He says that his friends want to have a house party until 6, and I say we can't be out that late but we can stay out until 3. He says that's fine. I hadn't been on a night out in ages, so they invited me along. I had just got a new dress and I was really excited to go out. I got my dress and makeup ready and told my BF that we had to start moving furniture now if it was going to be ready in the morning. He said sure, give him a minute to finish a fight in his video game. I started moving things and not gonna lie, really struggled with the heavy stuff, so I reminded him to help me move things. He tells me to wait. 2 hours go by with me struggling to lift couches and he jumps into the room, dressed up and ready to leave. He quickly tells me that he's ordered a taxi and is leaving soon. I ask what about moving the furniture. He just shrugs. I say that I can't go on a night out without moving this stuff first. He just brushes it off. I remind him to at least be back by 4 a.m. so that he won't be super hungover while helping in the morning. Long story short, I had to stay home and move the furniture so we would have room in the morning. He still went out without me. I was done by about 1 a.m. and woke up at about 7 and he still wasn't home. He answered and told me he was at the house party, but he'll be home soon. He got home exactly 10 minutes before my parents arrived. In short, he promised he would be home by 3 but came home at 10 a.m., made me stay home alone to sort the furniture, and when the furniture was finally in the house he refused to help me move any of it again. This happens constantly. If he promises to make dinner, I end up making myself a sandwich at midnight because he didn't do it. If he promises to wash our clothes, he only washes clothes that he is going to wear the next day. He promises to buy me flowers again, but it's been almost a year since he has. I brought this up to him yesterday night, saying that I didn't feel loved, and felt used since I do everything. He again had the conversation saying he knows he's made mistakes, and he'll do anything to help me feel loved. I asked one thing, help me in the morning with chores. He promised. Guess what happened? I of course ended up doing all of them myself. I'm getting so fed up of mothering him and forgiving him continuously, and this is the first time in 3 years I've actually thought about leaving. I know that I won't because I really do love him and his family, but nothing I do can get through to him. My boyfriend is getting too comfortable. Update 2 months later. A lot has happened since this post. I took the words and advice of the comments and gave him an ultimatum. He needs to fix the problems in the original post or I'd leave. I sat him down and explained that he's treating me like his mother, not his partner, so I'd set up a bed in my office and sleep in a different room until he proved he didn't need me to take care of him at a whim. He was super shocked that I'd hit him with this out of nowhere, ignoring that I've been asking for help for months. I had to drag one of the spare beds up the stairs and set up the room, all while he was sitting refusing to help me. Fine, nothing I'm not used to. I realized once the office was set up how happy it made me to have my own space without needing to fix all of his problems, and he did not take that happiness well. I noticed him getting snarky and aggressive whenever he saw how much I was enjoying my holiday from catering to him, and just overall being weird but still not really doing his own stuff. He'd just leave mugs and plates to get moldy in his room, or leave stuff everywhere in the living room. I noticed that he started to nitpick everything I did, and it seemed like he was trying to find something, anything to make me feel bad about to make his faults less bad, I guess. He complained about my friend group on Discord because he didn't like that I had friends that weren't through him, even though I invited him to come on with us, introduced him, and he had a good time. He also complained that I wasn't giving him enough attention or helping enough. Yeah, welcome to my hellhole. But everything he tried to fault me for was quickly shot down. Of course I'm friends with them. They haven't done anything wrong and I've invited you to join all the time, and, of course I'm not helping you. That's the point. Shite hit the fan after only 2 days of me staying in the office. My Discord group had decided to get drunk and play Cards Against Humanity, and I told my partner this. He just said okay, and so I went upstairs. Once I was already pretty tipsy, I got a message asking me to come downstairs. I told my Discord to pause the game and give me 5 minutes. When I went downstairs, he looked at me with the scariest face and said, "Do you want to tell me anything, huh?" Holding my old phone. In our entire relationship I have never done anything to be disloyal or anything, so I had no clue what he meant. I asked, still giggling from the drink. Tell you what, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said that he knew and I should admit it to him now because he had evidence. I still had no clue, so I told him this, still stumbling a bit, and asked to see the evidence. He proceeds to go through my old phone's photos until he reaches over 4 years ago, well before we were dating by the way, and shows me a picture of the person who essayed me, not a naughty picture or anything, literally a selfie. He showed me this smugly and proceeded to tell me that I cheated on him, with the guy who essayed me, before we were even together. Ladies and gentlemen, they say it's impossible to fall out of love instantly, but that's been proven false. I gave him one last chance to take it back and asked, "Are you jealous of him?" And he confirmed that yes, he wished he had done it first. In his defense, I genuinely think he worded this badly and didn't mean he wished he had essayed me, but holy heck, my drunk brain did not like that one. I don't even remember what I properly said, but I broke up with him on the spot. I explained I'm staying in the office until I find a flat, and he is not to talk to me at all. He realized that him trying to guilt me backfired and he started crying. I just went upstairs, put my headset on, and said, "Guess who's single?" Long story short, my Discord collectively decided to keep me on a video call constantly. BC, they had a bad feeling about me still living in the same house, and God were they right. He left to stay with his mum, who's down the road, but decided to try to kick the door down at midnight. Why? Everyone in the Discord was flirting with me, mostly jokes, and this dude took my old phone and logged into everything to find more stuff to guilt me on. I had to phone my parents to pick me up because he had gotten in and was throwing shit around, accusing me of cheating again. I'm now staying with my parents until I find a flat, and I'm lucky to have my Discord friends because if they hadn't witnessed his freak out on camera, I don't think anyone would have believed me. Love you guys.
I accidentally fell into a family with my best friend, and it's the best thing to ever happen to me. I had a very rough childhood growing up. I didn't have a dad, and my mom was never really there because she had a rough battle with health issues and got hooked on narcotics. I had friends growing up, but I had my best friend since I was 12. Her name is Lily. We have been extremely close due to our childhood issues, and we had always been there for each other. We had talks of being together, but got cold feet because we were scared if it didn't work. We couldn't recover from that. When I was 18, I didn't really want to go to college. School had never been for me, so I went into a trade. I work long hours, but it's been worth it and I make solid money right now for my position. I'll come back to this in a bit. When we were 19, Lily got pregnant by her boyfriend. The dude somehow managed to avoid child support payments and broke up with her, and has not seen the kid once in his life. Complete deadbeat. Makes me disgusted. Lily was scared, but I told her I would be here when she needed. She didn't have parents that would help, but I told her I'd help where I can when the kid gets here. Lo and behold, she gave birth to a beautiful little girl named Kelsey. I was there when she was born and it was a weird moment. I don't know to explain it, but I did feel happy for her. Now we're 21, and ever since then this little girl has had me wrapped around her finger. I've done my round of the diapers, bottles, middle of the night screaming, etc. Every day I get home from work we sit there and we watch her little shows, and we spend a lot of time together as the three of us as well. When we walk, she grabs my pointer finger with her whole hand because it's so little. She stands up and kisses me on the cheek after I change her, and she loved her snuggles where she just lays on top of me with her head laid up against my chest. As of recently, she has begun speaking. She has been calling me daddy. I've been feeling really weird about it lately, feeling like it's not right, and that someday she needs to know the truth. I talked to Lily about it one night and got her opinion of it. She sat there with a slight grin and then she came up behind me and hugged me. She said you're the best dad she could ever ask for, and then proceeded to tell me we'll worry about talking to her when she understands. As far as she is concerned, you are her daddy, and you are to me as well. I turned around and hugged her. We had a long talk about what's been going on lately with us as we have been engaging in not so just friends activities, and she just said I like this. I like our family. I just kind of froze for a second and asked her, is this what we want to do? And she followed up by saying I think we've been doing this for a while now, and then laughed. We had a great moment and agreed to be a family. I had told her I needed to run to the drugstore for some diapers for Kelsey. On the way there, I bursted into tears. I cried for maybe a good 30 minutes. I don't even know how I describe what I was thinking and feeling, but I was happy. I just know that there isn't a thing in this world I wouldn't do for those two. It feels like I can relax and reflect on everything that's happened to this point, but also I don't. I basically have a family I'm looking out for. Like no matter what happens, I have people who will depend on me, and something like that makes me want to be the best man I can. In about another year, I will have my official license for my trade, giving me a substantial pay raise and a new job that I already have lined up. I've already started looking at houses and rings. We've also talked about having our own once I get my license. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I wanted to share it with someone. But I don't really have those people in my life. Thanks for reading.